Hi, I'm Yahli. I'm a coach, entrepreneur, and a rock star, as we like to call ourselves here. And welcome to iinspire, where our mission is to empower millions of people to live a life that they love. You're about to listen to an iinspire morning call, where self-development graduates and fans keep the momentum going every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Our calls are split into 4 parts, beginning with an intro like a priming exercise, a meditation, or just some fun stretches, followed by our call leader, who's someone from the community volunteering to lead on a topic that's close to their hearts in order to empower and inspire everybody's day. We follow that up with a group discussion where people from the call can share their takeaways. And we always end with a fun outro as well. I invite you to be a part of our morning calls, but if you really can't make it, then check us out and check the recordings out on our iinspire Morning Call Facebook page, where you can also find our schedule and more information. Also, make sure you take advantage of our other iinspire groups and Facebook page. I hope you enjoyed today's recording and have an awesome and outstanding day.
All right. Round of applause for everyone who made it to the call this morning. Woo! Yes. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's iinspire morning call, where our mission is to empower millions of people to live a life they truly love and enjoy, and where you can be a leader too. My name is Yahli. I'm a coach, entrepreneur, and a rock star, as we like to call ourselves here. And before we begin today's outstanding, one-of-a-kind call, I actually want to take a moment and give you guys some ground rules just so we can begin. Most of you already know these, so we'll just go over them quickly. Number 1 is when to mute yourselves. So in order to keep these calls amazing for everyone, we're actually giving you the responsibility for when to mute and unmute yourselves. So in the beginning introduction, as we just did, when I present today's call leader, or at the end in the discussion, you guys can unmute yourself. Also, if you don't have any background noise, you can remain unmuted. But here's where your responsibility comes in. If you see anything that might make noise behind you, next to you, in front of you, anything you may not be aware of, if you're washing the dishes or cutting a salad, just make sure to mute yourself, and especially mute yourself when today's call leader is speaking. That's the first one. Number 2 is focus. Focus means you just clear away any distractions if you can. Just make sure that you're fully focused. There's a reason why you're on the call today. You're supposed to hear what you're supposed to hear, and you're supposed to get what you're supposed to get. So also listen from your life. If you think you know something that the call leader is talking about and the call is not for you, you're wrong. It's here for you. So whatever it is, I want you to listen from your lives and ask yourself, what can I do with this today? And even preferably write that down for yourself so you can make sure that you implement it throughout this day. All right. Now, number 3 is obviously have fun, participate. It's a party. That's what we're doing here, right? We're celebrating life. So if you're excited about celebrating life, just a moment before I present the call leader, I just want to hear you guys say yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Woo! Well, I'm excited too. And we've had a slight technical difficulty with today's call leader. Now, this happens, right? Life throws things at us all the time. But what we do as outstanding people is we play the game like we like to play it, which means we're going to own it this morning, and we're going to make this one of the best calls out there. In order to do that, I'm going to ask for someone very special to freaking step up and volunteer this morning, and I have a hunch about who that's going to be. So if you're volunteering this morning, say your name, present yourself right now.
Good morning, it's Gregg, and I am a rock star.
Yeah.
Nice job, Greg.
Okay, you guys, I want you to get this. Gregg is stepping up, even though he's not prepared and not ready for this. Round of applause for Gregg Sugarman!
Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning, Gregg.
Well, thank you. Well, so this was a talk that I was going to give on Wednesday. It's now Monday, and it's happening. So I think it's basically about 100% complete. But if it sounds really good, and then if towards the end I start stuttering, you'll all know why. So good morning, Yahli. Good morning, everybody. Happy to be talking to you. So this morning I want to talk about a couple of tiny little phrases that can really kind of turbocharge your life. And this idea came from a revelation I had that I posted a little bit about a couple of weeks ago. And honestly, it was like a lightning strike to the balls when it hit me, for real. It was like, I think sometimes it takes a while for what you hear to really sink in, to really get it, right? So belief, as like is, am, are. These type of people are mean. This situation is so difficult. I am this way. She is that way. So for me, I was born and raised in New York City, and part of what's in our DNA is we're tough. And there's that we are again. We're tough. And we're really proud of that, Like crash airplanes into two of our biggest buildings. Fuck you, we're still here. And from that toughness, I think, I developed a lot of my identity as I got a little older and life grew more challenging. For as long as I can remember, my story was always, I'm a fighter. I'm a survivor. And I kind of always identified with Rocky Balboa, to be honest. Like, keep knocking me down, I'll just keep getting back up. So, I'm a fighter.
Woo!
I'm a survivor, right? Well, life will give you what you ask of it, and all your thoughts are controlled by your beliefs. Because what hit me the other day was, my life always felt like a fight for survival. And that was, for me, a major, holy shit, I see the light, praise Jesus, Buddha, Yahweh, Muhammad, and most of all, Tony Robbins, So much of self-help, and I hate that term, but I've studied so many different disciplines of this for so long, and I've only really grasped a lot of the concepts on a surface level, I guess. And so life will give you what you ask of it. Your life is what you make it. You get what you seek. I'm a fighter and a survivor, and my life seems like a fight for survival. Now, that's just too much of a coincidence for me. So I decided that now is the time for better questions in my life, that now is the time for newer and infinitely healthier and more powerful what-ifs and I-ams. What if I'm not a fighter? Hi, thanks. What if I'm not a fighter? What if I'm not a survivor? What if you're not the same disempowering story you may have been telling yourself all these years? After all, it's our story, right? And we can write that story any way we choose, starting right here, right now, this morning. So what if? What if I'm a rock and roll fueled, ass-kicking spiritual warrior? What if I'm an inspired actor? What if I'm a soulful surfer? What if I'm a student and a teacher of life? What if I'm a masterful coach? What if I'm a proud citizen of planet Earth and an eternal member of the infinite universe? I grew up in a house where I must have heard the phrase, money doesn't grow on trees, and we're not made of money, 50,000 times. Oh, yeah? Well, belief is more powerful than reality, right? So what if money does grow on trees? What if I am made of money? What about you? What if your life really is a sacred gift? And what if the world out there really is your playground? What if everyone really is on your team? What if we are, all of us, in Eden right now and have been the entire time? And so all of this really is about consciously asking better questions. It just changes the way you see the world, and you're focused more on positive and empowering things. Logically, the more time you spend on positive things, the less time you're going to spend dwelling on negative bullshit. I found this on Tony Robbins' blog yesterday. Quality questions create a quality life. They direct our mental focus and therefore determine how we think and feel. The difference in the quality of people's lives often comes down to the difference in the questions they consistently ask themselves. If you ask a disempowering question, For example, why does this always happen to me? Your mental computer will look up an answer even if it has to make something up. It might come up with because you're stupid or because you don't deserve to do well anyway. On the flip side, if you ask an empowering question such as, how can I take this experience and use it to contribute to others? Your brain will look for answers to this question and often come up with an answer that not only makes you feel better, but that can help others as well. The key is to develop a pattern of questions that empower you. The following questions are designed to help you experience more happiness, excitement, pride, gratitude, joy, commitment, and love every day of your life. And then the questions he had listed were, what am I most happy about in my life now? What am I most excited about in my life now? What am I most proud about in my life now? What am I most grateful for? What am I enjoying the most in my life right now? What am I committed to in my life right now? And who do I love? Who loves me? More examples of better questions I've been asking myself lately, and this one comes right out of UPW. What can I appreciate? What can I appreciate? I'm not talking about the big things either. I'm talking about consciously asking myself that question in normal, everyday situations. A perfect example of this would be the other morning. I was running really late, and if you live in New York City, you know how that works. It's only when you're running late that the subways, which usually run every 2 seconds, they're also late because you're late. It's also been a lot colder here the past couple of weeks than it should be this time of year. Instead of the voice in my head going crazy with, why is it so cold? I'm sick of this shit. Is it ever going to get warm? And damn it, now I'm stressed because now I'm going to be late for my first meeting, and that's going to throw my whole day's schedule off. What can I appreciate? So yeah, it's a little chilly outside, but you know what? I've got this really warm jacket on. How many people do I pass every day in this town that are living on the street that would kill for a warm jacket? And yeah, the train is running late, but in a few minutes, the subway's going to show up here that's going to take me from 14th Street to 42nd Street in literally 4 minutes. How cool is that? I've also been asking, where can I find beauty today? And I mean, aside from all your sexy, smiling bad selves that are on the video calls that we have. So it could be like a bird, or the way the Keels on 13th Street looks like a storefront out of the 1800s when it snows, or the smile and the laugh of a little kid while she runs past me. So there's a lot of ugliness in this world. We all get it. But I'm just choosing to blissfully bury my head in the sand and pretend it isn't there. What about you? What questions do you ask yourself? What can you ask yourself going forward, starting today, right now? Your words are really important. So much of our language is done on autopilot. Take control over what comes out of your mouth. Use everyday small talk interactions to your advantage and really feed your subconscious with them. Since UPW, I tried my best to answer with answers like, have a great day, have an amazing day. I see it all the time now. I notice now that I'm paying attention. How many times a day do you ask, or does someone ask, how are you, or how's it going? So, Yahli, help me out here. Just pretend like we just saw each other on the street a couple of times and ask me how I am.
How are you doing? Hey.
I'm okay. Ask me one more time.
Hey, Greg, how are you doing?
I'm fine. So, yeah, I'm okay. I'm fine. Ask me one more time.
Hey, Greg, how are you doing?
I am out fucking standing. How are you? See, now try saying that to someone with a shit-eating grin. Try saying that to someone with a shit-eating grin on your face next time and check out the reaction you get. I'm doing great. I'm excellent. I'm outstanding. And think about this. When you're at a party or a bar or whatever, and I've always hated this because I find it so cliche, what is one of the first things people ask you almost instantly when you start talking to them? What do you do, right? And when you answer, how do you answer? It's usually I am. I am a stockbroker. I am a stay-at-home mom. I am a fighter pilot. All right, well, maybe that one's pretty cool. But since when does who you are or what do you do mean what do you do for money? I say fuck that. With the risk of sounding way too much like the opening scene in Fight Club, you are not your job. And one of the best things I find about these calls is that it gives us this blessing to kind of really explore new empowered identities. Carolyn's story, if you know, is amazing. And she had told herself a story for so long, and then all of a sudden I think the story goes, Yahli asked her something, and she said, I'm a rock star. And not only did she get support and love for it, but everybody in this forum, it became their thing too. It was like, yeah, us too, we're all rock stars. And so the next time I ask you that boring-ass question, what do you do? Meaning, what do you do for, oh, this is where I'm going to start to stutter because this is where my talk goes off the rails because I don't have the endings in it. Yahli, you know what? I think that's all I have for right now because I don't have an ending at all.
Gregg, I'm going to end it by asking you a question.
Go for it.
Gregg, how was that for you?
Yahli. It was out-fucking-standing. Thank you for letting me step up this morning.
Woo! Yes, one more time for the out-freaking-standing Gregg Sugarman who stepped up this morning. Give it up!
Thank you.
Yes. Gregg, you freaking rock. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you. Sorry I didn't have an ending.
Listen, that was out freaking standing. I was
Thank you.
Really, you touched on so many things that completely empowered me this morning, and you just switched my day around with just a few words. When you were reading your what ifs, I was almost crying. I could so relate to saying that. You know, it's almost like what we discussed about you and I on a private talk we had about becoming who you want to be and believing in who you are and just creating that.
Yep.
And those what ifs, it's exactly that. It's believing anything is possible and you can be anything. And I love that. Thank you for that. I want all of us to write that down for ourselves. What if, and just complete the sentence with everything you ever wanted to believe in. If you want action steps for this call, I would make that a must. Also, asking the right questions. I mean, the questions the empowering questions that you read out, which, by the way, I would love to have a recap on our group after this, and you writing those down.
Yeah, totally.
Those are the exact questions that I ask myself in my morning ritual every single day, and I'll be happy to share my morning ritual with everyone here. But that is one of the things that empowers me most and has made such a significant change in my life. It's just changed everything for me. Waking up in the morning and asking myself, you know, what am I grateful for? What am I proud of? What am I committed to? Who do I love? Who loves me? All these things, they change my day. And just by practicing asking myself those questions during the morning, I remember throughout the day, whenever something that I maybe dislike comes in my way, I remember to ask the right questions. Or I stop myself and I ask myself, if I'm feeling bad, why am I feeling bad right now? What question am I asking myself? And I'll always find a question there in my head, and I'll find my focus that way, and I'll see how I'm focusing on the negative, and I can always ask myself, okay, so if that's not an empowering question, what is? How can I take the same circumstance and ask myself an empowering question, something that empowers me, and it changes the game. Another thing is, you know, what can I appreciate, which for me is also what am I grateful for, is just probably the number one, I think, on the list. Just like you mentioned, it's a life changer to always appreciate something in every circumstance, and there's always something to appreciate. And I just loved when you said how you're doing. Let's do it again one more time. How are you doing, Gregg?
I'm okay. You want to try it again?
Yeah, no. Yo, Gregg, how's it going? How are you doing?
I am fucking outstanding. Good morning, Yahli. How are you?
Yes!
You know,
I was so before. What is that?
You know what the amazing thing about that is? That when you start, like, concentrating on doing that, it's amazing how much of it is, like, habit and ingrained, and how often, like, you find yourself defaulting to, I'm good, and then you're like, oh, damn it, no, I'm not, I'm excellent, I'm sorry, I'm excellent.
I know.
Again. And even when you answer to people and they say how you're doing, and you're like, I'm great, I'm excellent, and it kind of actually, it's funny, it takes people back for a second, and a lot of times people will answer your I'm excellent, and they'll just be like, I'm okay. And you're like, okay, well, you know, okay, sorry. Better luck next time. But it's
I so relate to that.
Yeah.
That happens to me in real life, and a lot of times I'll catch myself accidentally matching up the person in front of me and saying, "Oh, I'm good, all okay," and and my little voice is going, "What? What are you talking about? You're doing outstanding. You know it. Why didn't you just say it?"
Another cool side effect of that is sometimes, too, when you answer and you're like, "I'm excellent, I'm outstanding," you actually pick the other person up, and they kind of perk up and smile, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, me too, I'm great also." And that's kind of like a nice little side benefit. That's always fun when that happens.
Totally. When you said, "I'm outstanding," I just felt like I was outstanding just by hearing you. And it's true. And you can get someone, you can change their state just by being fully in your state. That's what's amazing about it. Just like you can meet someone and you ask them how they're doing, and they could be like, "Well, life sucks. How's it going for you?" And they can take you down just in the same way. You can bring them up just by being like, "Oh, my God, I'm doing so outstanding. Have you looked at the sun this morning? I mean, it's freaking cold, but have you looked at how beautiful the sun is? I feel like I could go to the beach right now." And lastly, I want to say, asking what do you do? That's one of the things I've been practicing for a couple of years now, and just reminding myself, it's not a lot to practice, it's just reminding yourself that that's not a generic question about, what your work is. And today I answer one of the following. I either say I do what I love and love what I do, or I say I empower millions of people to live a life that they love. And I live it, I own it, and when I answer that, it also brings the conversation up instead of killing it. Because when you ask someone, "Hey, what do you do?" and they're like, "Oh, I'm a stockbroker," it's like, okay, next, what else should I be asking right now? But when you're telling people your mission, then people are interested. They want to hear more, and you're also kind of reminding yourself to step into that and just be it. So thank you so much for this call. It was so incredibly powerful. And I'm about to open the call out for discussion. So, everyone on the line, before we give another last round of applause for Gregg, and before we start the call, I'm just going to remind everyone that when you want to speak, you present yourself like so. So I'm Yahli, and I'm a rock star. And when you present yourself, you'll say yourself by saying your name followed by "I'm a rock star." If it empowers you more to call yourself something else, go for it, as long as it's empowering and freaking awesome. All right, so if you're ready, let's give one last round of applause before we open up the line. Let's give it up for Gregg Sugarman. Thank you. All right. Who's ready for discussion? Who wants to share?
I need to share because, good morning. I need to share because my name is Christy Watkins, and I am full of love and gratitude.
Woo!
I was supposed to lead the call, and I've been with my mom unexpectedly in the hospital all weekend, and as I drove home, I just totally forgot that I was going to lead the call, and I woke up and I was like, "Holy shit! Oh my God, it's 7:24. I was supposed to lead the call," and so I dialed in anyways. And then I hear this amazing call, and when Gregg says that he's excellent, I got all these goosebumps on my body because I went from being a loser to I'm full with love and gratitude. So thank you for just having a great call, and I love the energy and the contribution that everyone is making. So that's what I want to share. Woo!
Woo! Round of applause for Christy Watkins!
All right.
Yes! Thank you, Christy, and thank you for joining us anyway, and that just shows what a rock star you are. A rock star is someone that doesn't let meaning that they give something stand in their way for greatness. So you didn't make this the worst thing ever that you missed the call this morning. Not only did you not make it the worst thing ever, you got on the call and you listened to the call without making yourself wrong. You listened to every word that you could get out of it. and you became empowered thanks to your listening. And then you stepped up and you shared authentically so that, you know, you get the power back. And I just want to acknowledge that for a moment and, you know, just point out how incredibly outstanding that is. That's exactly who we're committed to being in our lives. It shows that you're letting go of any negative associations and you're owning it. So round of applause for that, and I hope your mom feels amazing. Round of applause for Christy. One more time.
Hey, Christy.
All right, who else wants to share?
Rockstar Ralph here.
Yes. Woo!
Good morning.
Woo, Ralph.
Hey, Ralph.
Good morning. We create our life. However, life will throw us curveballs. Just like this morning, you gave the impromptu call, but, you know, it was freaking amazing. And you commented about the end. You didn't have an end. Well, Gregg, the end is up to us. We've determined what we need to do. So, Thank you very much.
That's awesome. Thanks, Ralph.
Awesome.
Yes. Round of applause for Rockstar Ralph. One more share. Who wants to share?
Good morning. This is Liliana, and I'm a rising star.
Woo!
I am trying to put together the vortex of things that came to my mind this morning, because it is uncanny how these things evolved this morning. And what I'm saying about is reinforcing what Yahli said earlier, that when we are on the call, there is something that we're supposed to hear, and it's always something in every single call. And this is one of those situations that I want to share with you. I was waking up this morning, and while I was preparing for the morning call, I was pondering over the dream that I had, not the Martin Luther King dream. It was about identity and how you define yourself when somebody asks you who you are. And the dream that I had was completely strange, because I'm not looking for a job. However, I was on the phone with somebody who was asking about a position, and we were two people like vying for the position, and I was replying right away about the position, about starting a factory, building something. And I was a chemical engineer, started up factories for Coca-Cola in Romania, Moldova, Russia. It's been a long time ago. I cannot identify myself as that, but it was uncanny to hear myself without any blur that you usually have in your dreams, how fast I was talking about who I am for that. And it was the passion of that starting and that making things happen. And I was pondering over these things, and I said, why are we defining ourselves with the jobs or the things? And it was uncanny to hear Gregg talking exactly about that. How do we identify ourselves, and how do we respond to? And I learned the other day about leaders ask for better questions, and that was again very much pointing out because I was pondering over this through the past few days. And again, the call that this is the vortex of things that I was telling you, that they're just all pointing out that I have to find a better definition of myself, something that resonates with who I am. And I was thinking this morning, as I said, as I was pondering over this, why can I not say about myself, I'm a rock star? The word rock star doesn't resonate with me. For me, rock star is that person that sings on the scene, plays the guitar, and this. I don't see myself that person, and it's hard for me to answer at every single time when I want to share I'm a rock star, because I don't see myself as that. And I was thinking about that as the preparations for the call were starting. So this is what I'm trying to point out: the uncanny. The fact that we do get we are here this morning called to hear things that are bringing us out to that awakening. We are here in need to ask better questions, about ourselves, about what are we doing, and we are here to support each other to get the answer to these better questions, and that's what I wanted to share, and I hope everybody gets a nudge of this, even though it's not so perfectly wrapped like you speakers out there are so wonderfully doing every morning for me. Thank you.
Woo! Round of applause for Liliana! Woo! Yes. Liliana, thank you. Thank you so much. I really want to acknowledge you for your openness and for your sharing, and I love that, and I love who you are, and special acknowledgement for who you are on these calls ever since you called in the first time. Not only do you show up every day, I think, but you're also always working on where can I get better? Where can I add on these 2 millimeters a day? And it shows. It's amazing, and it's very hugely, amazingly inspiring. So thank you. All right, and who else wants to share? One more share.
Good morning. I'm Grace, and I'm a rock star.
Woo! Yes. Grace.
I was thinking about what he was talking about, and one of the things, we went to a training this weekend, and the guy said, when people come up to you and they ask you, what do you do? If you want to really, change their perspective, you tell them, I don't do anything. And then you say, I am this, or I'm an entrepreneur, or it's not what we do, it's who we are.
I love it.
That was a really cool perspective. It's not what we do, it's who we are. One of the greatest keys to happiness is actually doing one thing. So when we're on the call, we don't need to be checking our emails or looking at Facebook or doing other things. That we need to be in the moment, in that thing. That is one of the greatest keys to happiness. So many people will be maybe
multitask,
eating and watching TV, or just whatever, doing more than one thing, but that you will find so much more happiness and that you will gain so much in your life if you just do the one thing, totally intentional towards the one thing at that moment. So, I wanted to pick up my pad, and then the other key was to not look, when you wake up in the morning, I know you do the morning ritual, and that's really where I've really been trying to get on these calls, is to, when you get up in the morning, to not get into your electronics, your Facebook, your emails, all that stuff, because it immediately just kind of negs you out. So those were just some cool things I learned, and I loved what Gregg shared, and I even caught myself this morning trying to go and do more than one thing, so I really had to make myself just be in the moment, in the one thing, and it was just fantastic. So thank you.
Awesome. Round of applause for Grace. And I want to comment on what you said and just say, thank you for pointing that out, and about doing one thing. That's exactly what I mean when I tell people focus on the call. Just focus, clear away any distractions. But I do want to comment on those of you out there calling in, even if you're at work, even if you're on your way to take your kids somewhere or do something. I do also acknowledge all of you guys, and it's okay if you have to do something else and you're still calling in. You're freaking awesome for doing that, because these calls are meant for you to rock your morning, and rock your day. I recommend everyone, if you can take one deep breath right now, just so you can take what you can take out of this call, just do it right now. Just inhale through your nose slowly. And exhale through your mouth. Detach yourself from anything. Connect yourself to everyone on this call, to the energy, just by breathing. Take one more deep breath in. And let the air flow through your body before you let it go. Just to feel your body be aware of your body. And exhale. I want you to think of one thing right now. I want you to think, who am I going to be today? Just ask yourself that question. Who am I going to be today? Whatever it is that comes up, I want you to take just one moment and visualize what that means for you. How are you going to stand? How are you going to walk? If you're that thing, how are you going to talk? What words are you going to use? How's your body going to feel? How are people around you going to feel? And if you're that thing, what's one thing you can do differently today? Just think about that one thing and see yourself doing it. Just give yourself 20 seconds to do that. We're going to end the call. So just see yourself, visualize, feel yourself. Take one more deep breath in and tell yourself who you are today. Just lock it in. And exhale. And wherever you are, I just want to thank you so much for calling in this morning for another awesome, outstanding iInspire morning call. I want to remind you that we're here every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. So make it, because I love having you here. And as you get on out of here, just rock it by giving another one last round of applause to everyone who participated on this call this morning. Let's rock the stage!
Great fucking day, everybody.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone. Have an amazing day.
Everyone have an amazing day.
Bye.
Thank you, Gregg.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah.